have extended the camera quite a bit, I think, yeah, to the max now on my tripod, and yet still I can't get the entire box length into a frame. But today I want to share a few things that I have been purchasing. This is not in one go by any means. Actually, this set I bought back in June as a birthday present to myself, and it was delayed so much so that I gave up on the thought that it will ever come. So yeah, I thought it was just lost somewhere on the way. But it did get here in the end, which was a complete surprise, because I was actually already repurchasing another, so to speak, birthday present to myself, because I had nothing to gift myself, you know, as a art supply. And yeah, so I ended up spending money on something else, and then this came. So it was a nice surprise. Okay, let's start with the small things. Down below there are a few books, so we'll finish with those last. And yeah, that's how we will do it. Okay, so I've got here Daniel Smith items. Now these I bought a while ago, and I have put a picture up on Instagram, and actually I'll show you the picture, what was the picture of. So this picture right here, when I was first swatching out the colors, that's the one I put on Instagram. And I don't know if you can see, but these two colors are the shimmer colors, so they have shimmers in them. This one very, very strong. This one I find doesn't come through as strong, but it does definitely have shimmer in there. But this is almost looks like glitter. I mean, a little bit of it comes off, but not too much, not to the point where you'd have like a glitter on your pages. But it's supposed to be a genuine color, which is remarkable, how there can be something in nature that is that shimmery. Anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. So that's the picture I've taken. I predominantly just swatched out the colors on their own, and then there's a little bit of blending here and there. But last night I've actually gone ahead and mixed these colors, including this time the white that I got. Now this one is by Winsor & Newton, and it's titanium white, so it's an opaque watercolor, which is great to create these sorts of let's see, where did they, these sorts of colors, which are on a pastel side, and they're very, very pretty. I mean, you would never think that you could take this color to that. So this one here is Sedona Genuine. Now I have to try it on different papers because I'm not loving it on this particular paper, and this is the thinner paper of the Caddy papers. I generally love Caddy papers, but I love their thick papers. The thinner ones are a little bit unpredictable, and also they, sorry, I had a bit of a croaky voice. It's still morning here, so I haven't had really time to talk, so I'm talking to you first thing. So yeah, what was I saying? It yeah, on this paper I'm not loving it, but when I swatched it out on the swatch card or the dot card, which I'll link down below here because it's a very useful tool to have, this is how I kind of picked out the colors I wanted to add to my collection, along with some artists that I saw using them as well. So yeah, and I really like this color. So here it looks a little bit different, so we will see how I feel about that. The Burnt Bronzite Genuine is this color right here in its true color. This is what it looks like without mixing. And then here are some of the mixes, and I love these ones that I have created. I wish I remembered how, but I think I actually mixed a little bit of this color with that color and neutralized it to this gorgeous, gorgeous color, which actually is very similar to the one, like on the dot card, there's one above this one. So this is the burnt bronzite genuine, and the other one might be just bronzite genuine or light bronzite genuine. Basically a very similar color to this, and I was thinking of buying it at some point, but I don't think there is any need because literally this is the color. It looks incredibly similar. So if you're new to dot cards, this is what it is. It comes in a lovely sleeve, so you can just cut the bottom of it and keep your dot cards inside the sleeve, and that will protect them nicely. So at the back here, yes, so if we go into, this is bronzite, burnt bronzite genuine, you can see, because it's a dot of watercolor, some colors as they dry and sit there for a while, they work differently on paper. So you can see that this tone is very, very different to this tone. I mean, you know, it's not as brown. This is obviously fresh from the tube. So if you were to squeeze out the color into a half pan and then kind of re-wet it every time you use, you probably would get closer to this side here. But yeah, that's what it is. And then here above we have bronzite genuine, which, no, actually this one is a touch warmer. So I wonder if I could put something in there to warm it up a little bit. But it's also a very pretty color. Okay, the sun is coming out, which is because it's the morning and I need to move on. Okay, so these are the watercolors. I have also added olive green. This is a color I have been thinking about for quite a while and wasn't sure whether I needed it, but here it is, swatched on its own. It's this kind of very earthy, warm, muddy color. And then here I mixed it with a bit of white to create these beautiful pastel-like colors. And yeah, I don't remember exactly. Like, I love this color here and this color. How did I mix that? Oh, hold on. Does this look any similar to the dot card? Oh yeah, guys, look. This is a fairly similar color. More than the other one, I'd say. I don't know if you can see it. This is very, very pretty. So, not sure how I did that. Okay. You can just play around and mix them, and this was a fun little bit to do. Next thing I have here is Fuchsite genuine. That's a color that I kind of felt a little bit apprehensive about. First of all, it had those sparkly things in there. If I had my own kind of wish, then I would love it to be flat. But I can mix it to be flat just by adding white to it. So here we go. Add white and you can't see any shimmers, and yeah, it's a gorgeous color. You can take down the shimmers. So you can see that the reflection on these three is really shimmery. There we go. And then these don't have any reflection. They're quite flat. So you can mix this color to be flat if you wanted to. And yeah, and the tone of itself is very, very beautiful. So I've got quite a few genuines here. So 3 are genuines: the Sedona, burnt bronzite, and Fuchsite, Fuchsite probably, Fuchsite genuine. So all of those 3. I know I promised you a video about all of my genuine colors, so I'll gather them and swatch them out for you in a video. Next thing I purchased was this Daniel Smith watercolor ground buff titanium. Now this came purely from watching one of Irit Landgraf's videos, where she showed during the World Watercolor Month she was using the white ground, and I thought that was very interesting to add texture to your paintings. So I decided to go for the buff titanium because I currently absolutely love buff titanium. So it's very, it's more on the liquid side, to be honest with you. I didn't expect it to be so liquid, but you can see it's, I thought it's more of a pasty paste, but it's very much like cream. And so you need to be quite careful. Don't tilt the bottle when you're opening it, because you would have some leakage, which is what I did. And, but I'm going to show you what it looks like on paper. So I put a little bit of it here with just one of those palette knives, and that's sort of great for creating texture and things. I don't know how the watercolor is going to look like on this because I haven't played. I did it last night to make sure it dries properly, and then yeah, I mean it dries fairly quickly, but it does say that you shouldn't use heat tools with this grout, so it might change the way it works, maybe, I don't know. So yeah, I left it overnight and we'll play with it at some point. Okay, so the next item is, like I said, it's a birthday present to myself, and this is Holbein artist colored pencils. These are fine, smooth, vibrant colored pencils made with light, fast pigments, and this is a set of 50 colors in delicate pastel tones. I have a few different colored pencils brands by now, which I enjoy using, but there was something about this specifically pastel set which I thought is very, very neat, and it's a great idea to have these colors, and it's quite unique. It's something that I didn't have yet, and so I treated myself to it. So it comes in this cardboard box, which also comes in a plastic sleeve when you first purchase it, and then in the lid of it you have the information here, which so there's a pencil number and the color name, and then I'm not sure what the rest of it is. And if I just slide it underneath, this is what it looks like. So you get a little leaflet here to, again, not sure what this is. I think these might be different sets or something. Alright, so there was a bit of noise outside, so I decided to take a little break and did my nails. So okay, so this is the lovely pastel set, and I have to say I haven't played around with them yet, except for one color here, the olive yellow. I swatched that out. So I can't tell you whether all of these colors feel like pastels. A few colors over here don't feel too pastel-y to me. They feel a little bit, you know, strong on color, but that's absolutely fine because otherwise there is enough and plenty of pastel colors here. So at the same time, you don't want them to be too light pigmented. You want there to be a little bit of color with it, and I think they have done a great job. Especially I like the color selection. The colors are very delicious, and I kind of feel like I want to rearrange the color order, but I don't know. At the same time, I like to keep them as they come, but here, for example, is clashing for me, yellow next to the dark green, so I might rearrange it, but I haven't decided. And yeah, so they all have numbers. They have the color names. I've checked every single one, thank goodness, because sometimes pencils are sold and they forget to put a name there. I don't know how it happens, but yeah, every single pencil has a name on it, so that's fantastic. The names are very delicious, and some of them are the traditional, like cobalt green, but also things like mustard and sky mist and things like that. Very, very beautiful names. Okay, so I will do a swatch video and we'll have a little play with these. I can't wait because yeah, I haven't, like I said, had a chance to play with them properly, and I wanted to do a whole video, so I kept them like that. Okay, next thing I'm going to mention is this sketchbook, which I'm not sure actually, I might have or might not have showed it before. So it's the Strathmore Mixed Media paper sketchbook. It has 190 GSM paper in here. So this sketchbook I saw on By Bun video channel, and she loves creating her art in these sketchbooks, or at least she did at some point. I don't know if she still loves them, but I remember she has used quite a few of those, and I found them really interesting because at that time I was using the Stillman and Burn, and I kind of yeah, I bought quite a few of the Stillman and Burn sketchbooks and hardcover, softcover, the Alpha series, Beta series, so I was really into them. But I'm a bit off now, just want to try something different, and I thought that this is a great substitute. So the cover is soft. This is something I really like, and it's got this faux leather feel to it, so it's very smooth. It's very kind of you know, it has that sort of almost like a velvet type of feel to it, you know. Really, really interesting. So the color is, it's not a black, I think it's a dark brown from what I can tell. The only thing is it gives you indentations like this if you leave them on something for too long. But here is the paper. The paper is gorgeous. It's a slightly cream tone to it, but it's not completely off-white, and this is like my favorite paper color at the moment. I've done the World Watercolor Month in the Dilutions journal, which is very, very like ivory type of a color, very creamy, and I enjoyed that. But then I felt very difficult to go back to my normal white paper which I used before, so this is like perfect in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to be going into this journal. The paper is beautifully textured, has very mild texture, so it's somewhere in between hot press and cold press, and it seems to be very similar on both sides, so I can't see too much of a difference. Maybe actually one side is slightly more smoother than the other, but fairly similar. What I have done is last night I just played around with some of my art supplies, because this is a mixed media journal. I wanted to see how things respond on it, whether, you know, the paper buckles, how the color looks, etc. So things like Museum Aquarelle pencils by Karen Dash, Watercolour, and Neocolor 2, Derwent Graphite Tint, Tombow brush pens, Pentel color brush, Derwent drawing pencils, Faber-Castell polychromos, Holbein pencil. This is the one that I just showed you. And here at the bottom, the only buckling I got was from these three, which is Liquitex acrylic ink, Dr. P.H. Martin's Radiant watercolor, and Dr. P.H. Martin's Hydrus watercolor. Oh, this is actually still sticky for some reason. So that's the only, those are the only things that buckled. But what I have done different for these versus the watercolor is I have wetted the area with a clean wet brush, and then dabbed in a drop of the pigment or of the art supply, which means there was a lot of moisture per circle, so naturally it would kind of change the surface of the paper. But if you're working with watercolor, here we go, two of them, they're absolutely fine. It seems like they haven't buckled anything. The paper is completely flat, so if you're not using too much watercolor, fantastic. And if you don't mind a little bit of buckling with quite a bit of watercolor, this is what you would get. So that's pretty good. The only thing I would say is I find that Liquitex acrylic ink doesn't work on all papers. It almost seems to change the surface of the paper when it sits too long, because it's got something in the ingredients, I guess. I don't know, but I have noticed this before. I have noticed it on the Jackson's sketchbook, the little one, and then also on this paper a little bit. You can't see it now because it has dried up and left this area, but when it was wet, it's almost like the paper surface is broken down, or the fibers are broken down. I'm not sure what it is. When it's wet, you can see the paper being affected. So that's it. It seems to be like going to be another long video, but never mind. So here are some books. Now, this is a book, let me just turn it around. This is a book I bought together with the pencils for my birthday. And what was funny is that, first of all, the pencils didn't arrive, and then the book did arrive, but I was so underwhelmed by it that I didn't feel like, you know, it was an enjoyable present to myself. So here's the thing. I have already filmed the review video to this book, and I actually refilmed it twice because I don't like reviewing things that I don't have a great opinion on, but at the same time I do want to be honest, because if I find something that is exciting and I share it with you guys, I want to be the same way the other way around. So yeah, let me know what you think, whether you still would like to see this, because there isn't really a great deal on Amazon about this book in terms of pictures to understand what it is behind. I mean, the cover looked great and I had such great expectations of it, but I felt like I was really not very happy with this book. So let me know if you want it. I can post it, the review that is. But these 3 books are amazing. So I have also bought them since June, so in the last couple of months. This is by Isik Güner, I think. It's a Turkish botanical artist, and the book is called Botanical Illustration from Life, a visual guide to observing and drawing and painting plants. So it is beautiful. It's a new book, I believe it was published recently. Let me just double check. Yes, it was published in 2019 and reprinted in 2020. And I will do a review for sure. It's gorgeous, beautiful. It has quite a bit of reading, so if you love learning from reading as well as looking at the photography, this book would be for you. Another botanical book that I ordered was this Drawing and Painting Botanicals for Artists. In fact, I tell you what, when I was buying this first book right here, I bought it for the fact that it was going to teach me how to draw, is what I thought, and obviously it being modern botanical book, yeah, that's what I was thinking, but it really didn't do that at all. It is so basic that I felt I wasn't learning anything from that book at all. So it might be good for beginners, but complete beginners. Someone who has never drawn a flower in their life before, perhaps it could be useful. But even then, I think there are fantastic artists to learn from, where I don't feel that the author of that book perhaps had the desire to teach you. So yeah, I'm not sure. So that book is a little bit confused for me. So here is what I did then. I went ahead and I bought these 2 books, and they are meant to teach you to draw botanicals as well as paint them. So both of them have a large section on drawing as well as painting. So these are fantastic for if you want to learn how to draw as well as paint. So just a very quick, also very generous with sharing their colors and things like that. I always like that in artists. So this one is Drawing and Painting Botanicals for Artists. So it's not for beginners. How to create beautifully detailed plant and flower illustrations, and it's by Karen Kluglein. So that's those 2. And then finally I treated myself to this book. So I bought this actually as well when my pencils didn't arrive. I just felt like treating myself a little bit with a few things that I was looking at for a while. So this book has been out for a while, and I always wanted to get it, but somehow never got around it. So it looks beautiful because it's presented in such a beautiful way. It comes in this sleeve which you can keep the book in. It has a very modern look to it, and let's look inside. So, Cozy Days, The Art of Iraville. So there is a YouTube channel, but I find the channel doesn't have a very good quality of video and sound and filming, so it's not such a joy to watch the videos, but her art is or where I first got introduced to, and it is gorgeous. Let me just zoom in a touch. It is gorgeous. It's so whimsical. She's a German illustrator, lovely girl, and her style is so unique, and it really has that cozy feel to it, and it's really pretty. When I was little, I always loved this sort of children book illustrations, but like at this level, you know, not the simplistic one. I really love buying my son books that have fantastic illustrators in there, and yeah, I think it's just so captivating to look at pictures that give you a scene and just how beautiful it looks. It's just not one item or object that she draws, but a whole scene, and it's very, very pretty. There is a video here on her creating this illustration on YouTube, so have a look. She uses a combination of watercolors and pencils, and yeah, she also teaches you in this book how to make your own sketchbook and how to do the binding. I think this is the Coptic one, if I'm not mistaken. And a few other things. So yeah, it's very, very useful. She has, and also how to make watercolors, how to make your own watercolors. She has, I think here somewhere, which is a whole chapter on creating characters, which I want to look into and be inspired by, because I do want to do a bit more portrait and character, like face drawings the coming days. So here we go. So these are more characters, you know, body shapes and things like that, but there is also some faces here. So very, very pretty. I'll do a full-on review for this book because it's gorgeous and it needs its own space. And yeah, look at that. There's also an indentation on the cover. I hope you can see it, of her illustration. It might be a self-portrait or something. Anyway, so that's it for today. It's going to be a super long video, fun to edit, and I'll see you in the next one.